Hey guys, in this video we're going to be talking about basement half walls. Just a few things that go into the process of figuring out how to cut your jacks and kings, leveling your studs, and tying in the walls with the sill plate. So let's get into it. Okay, so the first thing you'll do is measure down at your step on both sides of your step. You want to go from top to top. Then always remember to take off 4.5 inches for your bottom plate and your two top plates. The reason we do a bottom plate on top of this treated plate is because if window jacks or the stud layout hits these bolts, we don't have to worry about cutting them or moving things. So we just drill out a hole on our bottom plate and put it right on top. So back to this, you take off 4.5 inches, two top plates and one bottom plate. I always take off an extra 3/16 after that for stuff stacking together and growing, because this sill plate isn't perfectly flat with the bolts pulling it down. Now sometimes your concrete isn't level, and in this case our concrete's level, so we can use our stud measurement for the entire run, which is amazing. But if your concrete isn't level, what you can do is put a laser on your concrete where it's full height and shoot into the corners. So you'll have a stud going up at the corner, and you have a laser line over there, and mark your top of wall, and then you run a string line from your concrete to your corner board, and then you can custom cut every stud so that it sits on the concrete. I really don't like doing this because these bolts suck down the sill plate really hard, and between the bolts, since it's got that sill seal under there, it bulges a little bit, which over time that eventually settles down. So if you custom cut your studs, after the house sits for a year or so, it's not perfectly level anymore because that bulge has settled with all the weight of the roof and the floor on it. If we can at all, we like to cut all our studs the same. If you're getting any value out of this, please hit that subscribe button. So once you got your wall height figured out and your stud height, you want to move on to any window openings that you have. Now, window openings are where basement half walls get tricky. Your general contractor or the plans or wherever you get your elevations from should already have this figured out, because most basement half walls have an egress window in them, which is a window in a bedroom. To meet code, an egress window has to be 44 inches or less off the floor to the actual opening of the window. So sometimes to do that, they'll have the sill plate notch into the concrete. But either way, this should have been figured out before the concrete was poured and the windows were ordered. So you should be able to fit it. But moving on from there, once you have your windows, sometimes you have to do what we did in this scenario, which is you have to notch your header up into that first top plate. So we have our jack, our king, which goes all the way to the top of the header, and then I like to call it a little king. It's just a stud that your first top plate can attach to. So this allows us to get an extra 1.5 inches and fit this window in. We're actually cutting out this bottom plate here, and the window will sit right on the treated. The important thing when you split your top plate in two to get that extra 1.5 inches is that you don't want your wall to grow. So you have to make sure those boards are tight, and after you put them on, measure it to make sure it's the same as your bottom plate. If your wall grows, it could lean your wall at the end of the run.
Okay, now you can go to the other side.
After you got your wall built and up on the stem wall, next part is double top plating. And what we like to do is tie in our double top plate into the sill. This makes it super strong, and if it's level, it looks real nice. With these windows, since we're cutting out this bottom plate to get our rough opening, we actually have a bolt in our way. So we're gonna have to inset that as much as we can to get the nut below the treated plate. That will allow us to get the window in without hitting it. And there you have it. That's how we build basement half walls. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching.